As you know, on Sunday night or Monday morning of every week, we post a new expository semiotics explaining why we would choose which lectionary readings. But in these readings, our dream is, and our desire is, to help you read the signs and fondle the details and spot the seminal metaphors, the condensed signs and the stories that are key for preaching to a digital culture. So strap on your seatbelt and join us as we prospect our passages for today. Len Sweet here, welcoming you to LenTalk number 164. This is the 14th of May, 2023, the sixth Sunday of Easter. It's one of the high and holy days it's not on the liturgical calendar, but it is in some ways on the church calendar because this is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all of you. And I want to, first of all, thank all of you for your support of these PreachTheStory and these LenTalks. I couldn't do it without you and without your continuing support. So thank you. Thank you for all of your subscriptions and those of you that are supporting this ministry financially. I'm so enormously grateful to you. And I want to look at one passage today in our lectionary passages that kind of helps me and I want to help you as you think with your people about what it means to celebrate this Mother's Day 2023. This comes from 1 Peter 3, and there are a lot of different translations of it, but my favorite one is always be ready to give an answer when someone asks you about the hope that is within you. But do so with meekness and gentleness. Always be ready. Like at a moment's notice, be prepared. Always be ready to give an answer when asked for the hope that is within you. And one of the biggest problems of our world today is does this world need hope? Do we need hope? Do you need hope? But be prepared to give a reason for that hope. But do so with gentleness and mercy and meekness. I want to talk today about the 7 mothers of every Christian. Now, this is not an original idea with me. Let me start right out here. I am borrowing this from Andrew Wilson, who is the teaching pastor at King's Church in London. Andrew Wilson, one of my favorite writers today. He has 2 master's degree in theology, has a PhD from King's College, Oxford. Wesley member got his degrees from Christ Church, Oxford. And the difference in Christ Church and King's College is not that much. I think Christ Church is a little bigger, King's College is a little smaller. I think King's College has the better chapel and gardens, and the rest of the architecture is all Christ Church. But he a few years ago did this little riff on the 7 mothers, and this is so characteristic of him in his style, that every one of us have 7 mothers, 6 individuals, and then one in particular that we'll mention. And so I want to. These are his, but these are my riffs on what his 7 picks are. And so let's go through them and enjoy his itemization, and I'll try and bring it to life a little. Each one of these we could spend a whole sermon on. This will make a great series, 7-week series, ending with Mother's Day. But maybe you can do that next year. But these are the first of all, the first mother that we all have and we all share is Mother Eve. Genesis 3:20 calls her the mother of all living. Adam was a dust from the dust, a dust man. Eve was a life woman. It was her seed that would crush the serpent's skull. and the serpent's head. So the importance of Eve as a mother to us all in this first couple of Adam and Eve. Number two, you have Mother Eve, but then you have, and this may be a little grating to some of you, but this is so biblical, Mother Earth. In Job will return naked to his mother's womb. It's not talking about a person there. It's talking about Mother Earth that will take his body. It's Job 1:21. The bowels of his Mother Earth, out of which every man, every one of us, is made. This is a key biblical insight. It's so easy to skip over this because it's so obvious. But here, we are not plopped down on the earth. We come out of the earth, out of this mothering earth. So, I mean, it's really clear that the metaphor here is significant, and the incarnation is all about coming from it. That Jesus, God just could have plopped Jesus down here, but he came out, as we all do. We come out of the earth. In fact, the very name Adam, means from the earth. We're this clump of earth, this clump of clay that God breathed into the breath of life. We became earthlings. Okay, we should use that more often, maybe. Earthlings. And we cannot forget our ties here to Mother Earth. Paul describes creation as a mother in childbirth, bringing for the new world as the curse is lifting and birthing this new world. So the image of Mother Earth is not just an environmentalist thing. It's not just a New Age thing. It's a biblical image of we're all come from Mother Earth. Number 4. A fourth mother that we all share. No, this is the third. I'm sorry, third. A third mother that we all share is the holy city of Jerusalem, the temple. This is Galatians 4:26. The Jerusalem that is above is free, and she is our mother. So this is a symbol for the church. The church is our mother. In fact, I think it was Cyprian of Carthage said you cannot have God as your father who does not have the church as your mother. So the image of the church as a mothering force, and this is part of the birthing force. The birthing image here is key. And the church that nursed us and birthed us and brought us into the life of faith. I am a product. The church used to have a farm system. Beginning the day you were born, you put on a cradle roll. And from that moment on, you had all the church nurtured you and incubated you and nurtured you in the faith all the way from, children's Sunday school to children's clubs to summer camp to high school clubs, Christian clubs, and then we used to have Wesley foundations at colleges, and so the church mothered you all the way through your life journey into adulthood. Summers, we had summer camp. I went to camp meetings, a bunch of camp meetings every summer. Some of the most memorable images of my life, the church mothering me. So the first mother, we have 3 mothers now. We have the first mother is Mother Eve, then we have Mother Earth, and now we have Mother Church. Fourth mother, again, we spend a lot of time each one. Fourth mother is the mothering of pastors, a pastoral mothering. And here, Paul clearly sees himself as mother a mother figure to the Galatians. This is Galatians 4:19. My dear children, for whom I am again in the pains of childbirth until Christ is formed in you. And this is where we get this image of the new birth, and the church helps to birth this, but the role of pastors, rabbis, teachers. Andrew Wilson himself is a teaching pastor at this King's Church in London. 1 Thessalonians 2:7-8. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Pastors bring us to birth in the gospel and nurse us. I will never forget Kenneth Ulmer, 41 years of pastoring Faithful Central Bible Church in Los Angeles. And his last sermon used this as his text, this right here. And he talked about his attempt to nurse this congregation and to help them. And he ended his sermon. You can see this online, and I'll try to remember to put the link here if you scroll down and see what's beneath what says "Show More." I'll put the link here to his final sermon and the service. Viola Davis, the lead actress in The Help, remember that about 10 years ago? There was this movie. She plays a domestic worker for a white family in the 1960s in Mississippi, and it just tears your heart out. But the film was much loved, but the most memorable, became a meme, is when she was forced to leave the family, and the little girl in her care that she had so nursed herself and brought up to the point where she was today. Her last words were, "Remember, you is kind, you is smart, you is important." And Dr. Ulmer used this as he said goodbye to his church. He said, "I've nursed you this far, and now I'm leaving you, and I'm letting you, I've got to go. I've got to go. But as my child in the faith, church, you can never forget, you is kind, you is smart, you is important." You know, the most famous kind of, in some ways, pastoral mother of the 20th century wasn't a mother at all. Mother Teresa, who nursed the whole world in kindness, in meekness, and in importance. Number 5th mother, the 5 mothers we all share. This is Christ. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how often I have longed to gather your children together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you were not willing. This is Luke 13:34. So Jesus, the mothering role of Jesus, as Jesus himself presents himself as a mothering hen who gathers her chicks, her children. The power of Jesus laboring on the cross and a new world being born in that labor pangs and labor pains. I want you to hear this. Nothing is born without labor pains. It's easy to get pregnant with dreams and visions and ambitions, but most pregnancies are never birthed because their delivery is too hard and too painful. And every mother, you're here today because every mother passed through the pain, passed through, delivered on that promise. It wasn't just a pregnancy, it was a delivery. Nothing is born without labor pains. It's easy to get pregnant. Dreams, ambitions, goals, visions. But most pregnancies are never birthed because their delivery is too laborious. It's too hard. It's too painful. And Jesus himself, he had a ministry of compassion and and comfort and protection. All of these are mothering images. Here's Isaiah 66:12-13. For this is what the Lord says, I will extend peace to her, this is Jerusalem, like a river, wealth of nations like a floating stream. You will nurse and be carried on her arm and dangled on her knees as a mother comforts her child. So I will comfort you and you will be comforted over Jerusalem. Hence Jesus's tears that he shed over Jerusalem, his care for Jerusalem, his love for this holy city, which also merges here with the church. How it's always amazed me a little bit how does Jesus know about the birth pangs of mothering? And this is Jesus using this metaphor freely. It's John 16:21. As a woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come. But when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy that a child is born into the world. That old saying, nothing pain is harder to endure, but easier to forget. The quickest pain we forget. And Jesus knows this. I don't know how but he knows us. He knows mothers, he knows fathers, and here he is using a mother image to remind the people. Number 6, God the Father is also presented as God the Mother, and this is a biblical image. The Abba, Emma, Father God, Mother God. God is Isaiah 49:15. Can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget. I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are ever before me. And so we have here, number 6, the 6th mother that we all share as disciples of Jesus, as Christians. And the 7th one, and this is the one that's most particular and pertinent to today, is your birth mother. And at least in my case, the faith of our fathers is what our mothers often taught us. and at least it was my mother that taught me the most. And my mother, I've written her story in this little book here called Mother Tongue. What's it like to be the child of a preacher's kid? And so I tell, this is her picture right here. This is my mother. And she herself, it was a late marriage. She got married until her mid-30s. She had a ministry up until that time and really didn't want to get married to my father. A couple of reasons. One, she was Pilgrim Holiness. I call them the Marine Corps of Methodism. This is hardcore, almost Amish. You got to think Amish Methodist. Okay, didn't show no skin. Women didn't show any skin. No jewelry. Didn't bob your hair. You can see this in her picture right here. But in her mid-30s, she met this Army Air Force Sergeant, Leonard Sweet, in Newport News, Virginia, and he was smitten. He went to her services that she was preaching at, and his heart was strangely warmed, not by the preaching so much as by the preacher, and he pursued her. But the Bible clearly said, in her mind, that you should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And a couple problems. One is he was from the north, Adirondack Mountains. She was from the Allegheny Appalachian Mountains, and that was a form of unbelief for her. Also, he was a liberal. He was a Free Methodist, and they could wear rings and they could cut their hair, but she couldn't get over this verse in Deuteronomy 2:2 that the Lord brought to her mind as she was reading the Bible one day. You have traversed these mountains long enough, turn towards the north. And so that's my life verse. I have this verse. Mother, she married. My father began to have children later, a few years later. And we grew up in this little village, although we were taught we were living in exile when we were up north. We really should be living in the South. But this was right here. This is my house. This is where we lived. My two younger brothers were all a year apart. A street that was about a 45-degree angle. You can see a little bit here. It's slanted. The poorest street in town. The Gloversville was known for some of the best houses, and the glove factories were thriving, and so you had a lot of very high middle class and wealth. And then you had my street. It's called Hungry Hill, Bloomingdale Avenue. We're about halfway down the street, and that we were about the only people on the street that were on welfare. We should have been. My father was just too proud. I'm not getting any help from the government. And so we got handouts from the welfare people to keep us going. But we didn't know we were poor, because my mother taught us that we were rich in things of the Spirit, and rich in Scripture, and rich in our minds. And they had no money. From very beginning, she said, we don't have any money to give you to college, but you're going to go to college. In fact, you're going to go beyond college. And neither of my parents had college degrees, but all three of us, because of my mother, who just drilled into us that you will go to college and you will get your own resources to go to college, but you don't have a choice. And so all three of us had PhDs, all of us. I'm the dumbest of the lot. I'm the stupidest. My brother Phil, he got a big award. He was the first person at the University of Richmond to graduate with all A's in like 20, 30 years. Never saw a B in his life. In college, my brother John never saw a B in his whole life. He went to Harvard, then went to Princeton. I saw B's. So I'll never forget, in fourth grade, I got a test exam. It was a grammar test. I got 44 on it. That wasn't even a B, it was an F. So I'm the dumbest of the lot. But my mother taught all of us that we will never be the smartest people in the room, but we can be the best student in the room. She said, whatever class you're in, wherever you go, there's always somebody smarter than you. You're never the smartest. But you can be if you apply yourself, if you discipline yourself, if you defer your gratification. You can be the best student in the room. And I want to just say thank you, Mom. This is a book, what was like growing up as a PK with a preacher as your mother. But I want to just say that one insight, humility of you will never be the smartest person in the room, ever. But you can be the best student. And you know, the word that we translate as disciple, the Greek word is M-A-T-H-E-T-E-S, is even better translated as student, as a learner. Jesus said, learn from me. And thank you, Mother, for teaching me to learn. I used to be a learned professor. Now I am a learner. And I'm learning every day. I'm learning more about Jesus, what I know. I'm learning to lean back into the power and passion of his arms. I'm learning that first love over and over again. And so I want to thank this morning my seventh mother, the mother that brought me into this world, Mabel Boggs Sweet, for teaching me and my brothers who will never be the smartest people in the room. But we can be the best student and the best disciple that God made us to be. All you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Every one of you out there, remember, your 7 mothers. You have Mother Eve, Mother Earth. You have Mother God. You have Mother Church. You have mother people in your life, like pastors. And then you have your birth mother, the 7 mothers every Christian should thank God for today.